All right, welcome back. We're answering questions about, or a question about supervision, and we decided to go ahead and run my whole career on supervision, 35 years. Right now I have about, somewhere around 9 years on, 10 years on, and I'm working as a community relations officer, and I'm prelude to being a supervisor, and just that's what I'm doing, okay? And I'm working in areas around SC, south of SC, and pretty active division, pretty hot. Okay, so what happened was this night we had a really progressive lieutenant, really good guy. Oh my gosh, one of the few, I guess, in one of my hands I could have that are very forward-thinking, open-minded, a lot of common sense, take care of their people, do not talk down to you, talk to you. Those are huge, because again, man, you think the higher up you get, the supervision would be better, but not necessarily. A lot of reasons why. A lot of reasons why, and I'll tell you later. They're trying to promote, they're worried about not promoting, worried about their pensions. Man, just do your job. Shut the heck up. So now we're coming to work one day, and I don't have a partner. We always work in two-person cars. So Lieutenant says, hey, why don't you go ahead and just sit over there in the sergeant's desk, because one of my sergeants out in the field anyway, and start learning about reading reports and learning how to read them and supervise them and write and approve them. I'll let you do that. Okay, fine. So I'm reading this mundane reports, like somebody took something out of a car. It's just a report. Most of those reports go to insurance companies and stuff. You're just looking at it, read the narrative, make sure all the boxes are checked, make sure the officers' numbers are clear. And that's all you're doing. It's some administrative stuff. You approve and put them in an inbox, you know. Okay, so pretty boring stuff. Okay, so 3/4 into the shift, I'm bored stiff. Okay, I never liked inside work. Like I said before, I worked at desk when I broke my hand, hated it. I feel like being a caged animal. I want to get out. Okay, so I decided to make up a phony report, okay, in Spanish. I wrote the whole thing in Spanish, okay, Spanish names, everything else. And I finished it off. I signed my name on it, you know, put some fictitious officer's name on it. There was no such thing as that officer, and I put it in his inbox for the lieutenant, because he looks at all the stuff, makes sure everything's squared away. Also, then he initials it, then it goes off. Well, I was going to tell him about it. The little thing goes into big thing. As soon as I did that, I was doing something else, and then a call came out, hot call in the field, an officer was hurt. Okay, well, he's the watch commander, and we've been out before. He's very aggressive. I was his driver, he's the lieutenant, he's in charge of the watch, PM watch, which is the biggest shift. And he said, let's go. So we grab our stuff, and he grabs another sergeant, take the desk, and off we go. Jump in that car, and I'm bailing out of there, you know, burning rubber, and we're headed to the location. This is a good supervisor. Here's his men's in trouble. He wants to get out there and walk around, at least show himself. Other lieutenants would not do that. So we pull up, we get out. By now they got, you know, some yellow tape are up. They got an officer down with an ambulance. Officers got the suspects, you know, the foot pursuit. Everything's pretty much ended now. Just doing the transferring the suspect, make sure he's okay. The officer, make sure he's okay. I think he might have broke his ankle. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't that serious, but he's talking, he's fine. And I've got to have officers to escort him. A lot of moving parts here, which is really done by the supervisor in the field anyway. But the lieutenant's standing there watching the whole thing like a field commander, which he is. And everything's cool. So we're all done. We get back to the station. We get back to the station, time to go home. So we're done. The lieutenant's there. See you later, thank you, and off we go. Not that simple. Okay. Now, in this station, there was it's a large station they had a lot of civilian ladies working in the record bureau. And thank God for those people, because they cause the department to continue on with its administrative flow. I can't do anything without paper. And so she saw this report, somebody saw the report, and just happened, they don't read the reports necessarily, they don't need to. They just process them. Well, one girl just picked up on it and looked at strange language and gave it to the supervisor, who had like 28, 30 years in the department, and her head exploded. Ah! She goes to the captain, oh my God, what's going on here? You know, and these officers on the bottom, there's no such officer. Well, because I made it up. Okay, we didn't know this was happening, so we come to work the next day, and I'm at roll call, and Lieutenant comes in, and he's usually a pretty jovial and open guy, you know, and he's got this strange look on his face, a strained look on his face, not a strange look. So right before roll call, he looks at me, hey, I want you to stay after roll call, okay? And I was pretty top step, so it's not as if I'm in trouble, but I thought, what's going on? That's weird. So I told my partner, go downstairs and get the car ready, I'll be with you in a minute. So everybody leaves, he goes, look at this. What is it? And he goes, did you write this? And I went, oh, as soon as he said that, I went, oh, I forgot. So again, sometimes you have to pull that belt and say, I did it. I said, yeah, I did what I told you. It's going to be a joke, blah, blah. He goes, yeah, somehow it got to the record clerk. Oh, so she shows the captain. Was she mad? She goes, yeah. She goes, we don't have time for this. And he's telling me, now this is a good lieutenant. He goes, the captain's telling me she has no time for this. Okay, she, first of all, is a supervisor. She's got like 5 girls working for her. They process hundreds of reports every day. So it's not as if this is one report out of 300 makes a difference. But she didn't like it. She wanted to flex her muscles. She claimed to the captain. She works directly to the captain. So I said, okay, well, I know the captain. He picked me to come down here. So I said, if you want, I can go in there and I'll tell the captain. I'll take it. I'll take it. It's I own it. He goes, no, you're not. He says, I supervise you. I took care of it. What? Unbelievable. I never had anybody do that. I never had a supervisor do that. He says, I should have signed it. I should have initialed it. I said, you work for me. I said, I own it. You don't want me to? No. I went, whoa, that's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So that was a good supervisor. Not that because he got me in trouble, but he stood up to the plate. I'll do this later. I do that later when I became one. So now now back to supervision. So now there. Now let me get off the sidetrack here because there was a scandal around that time where vice officers in a certain division, this is what they did. They didn't want to have the challenge to do bookmaking. It's very challenging. You have to write search warrants. You have to go undercover. A lot of work to get a bookmaker, which is basically off-track betting, mostly horses. So this is what they did. They called bookies and said, "We're going to come over at 3 o'clock to arrest someone. We want someone there, and we want evidence." Oh my gosh. Okay. So they would go down to a phony business. They'd walk in, vice squad. There'd be a guy sitting there, not the real bookie, someone of his friends. They'd have evidence sitting right in front of them, which is unprecedented because they usually destroy it. Take them into custody and arrest them. And they'd be bailed out in an hour, $50 fine, and that's the end of it. What that did, it made the statistics on that vice unit very high, that they're making a lot of bookmaking arrests, whereas the rest of us in a hard-working division, I'd make maybe 1 or 2 a month. That's how hard it is to work these things. They were making 10, 12 a month. So they weren't getting bribed or anything. They just wanted the kudos that they're the top producing bookmaking experts in the city. There's 18 divisions, they're the top one. We thought, wow, I mean, I didn't know at the time, but I was hearing rumors about this, and as I started calling my friends, they told me all this, and it's on the internet, you can look it up. And so that's what they were doing. They were basically calling ahead and setting up unknown people just to come in and arrest someone. Okay, here's where supervision comes in. The reports were all the same. They worded them all the same. So the supervisors who aren't involved in investigations or who are supervisors should have figured it out that all the arrests are the same. And one thing about bookmaking and DUIs, any arrest you make, if you make an arrest DUI tonight and you make one tomorrow night, they're going to be different. Everybody's different. They're going to be the same stop, the same lane change, the same steps, the same. No, every report is different because every person that you arrest is unique in themselves. Each case is different. They failed to pick up on that. Okay, and then the reports are flowing to the captain, or to the lieutenant of the unit, excuse me. He didn't look at that way. Okay, so they were doing this, and so they went out and they busted everybody. Okay, they 2 guys, there was all kinds of stuff going on. 2 guys resigned, 2 guys got fired, a lot of stuff going on here. Okay, which comes to me. They went out, the internal affairs, and scared the 17 remaining divisions, and they went out there and they audited everybody. Okay, they kicked all those guys out of that one unit and replaced them. They went out and put audits on everybody. And they told all the officers in charge of the units, sergeants, you better bring in here a bookmaking expert, find one, and fix this. We don't want to ever see this again. We want innovative stuff to be done. We want new techniques. You will not do what these guys did. And because otherwise you'll be gone. Okay, and all these guys want to promote. All these sergeants of 18 divisions, there's 18 divisions, 2 sergeants, that's 36 sergeants. They all want to make lieutenant. They all won't, but the bad thing, like I told you before, is you go to vice unit, you serve your 18 months, you get your stamp that you've completed it, you're responsible, you can work with funds, you can work with informants, it's a good ticket, off you go. You screw up and get kicked out, you're done. Those guys that got kicked out, one guy promoted because he was already on a list, one guy would never be promoted again, one guy retired, one guy quit. I mean, it's just because you're done. You cannot continue. You can be a police officer, but you'll be standing on the wharfs of harbor watching tugboats come in. That's what you'll be doing. Okay. So, on that note, the vice sergeant of that unit sees me in the hallway because he's looking at records and he finds out I used to work bookmaking. So he gets me in the hallway and he says, "How you doing? I'm so and so." I'm going, "Oh, I heard you." He's giving me a standing interview here. And I said, "Yeah, I work bookmaking." And he goes, "Yeah." He says, "Would you like to come work bookmaking?" with me. Come and vice again. Well, first of all, in our department, having a second vice tour is very, very rare. You only get one for a lot of reasons, but a lot of guys move. Most of the guys move on and promote and do other things, and they don't want to go back and do vice again. So it's very rare that a guy gets to work 2 vice tours. Okay, it's very rare. So I thought, well, maybe if I want to promote, if I did good with the first one, if I do good with the second one, it'd be even better. Okay, so and I had done my job here as community relations officer. I'd been there a long time. The captains that I was devoted to that brought me there, they're already transferred, so I have no allegiance to them. So I said, sure, I'll go. So that's why I'm saying that's how I got there. Okay, and so once I got there, then the guys I worked with, 3 other partners, and then my 2 supervisors, nobody ever worked vice. Supervisors as policemen never worked vice, and they were in patrol, and they made them vice sergeants. And the 3 guys in there that were supposed to be working vice, they're working vice, but they never worked vice before, so they don't know what they're doing necessarily when it comes to bookmaking. So I went in there and just basically from the day one, I went off running, and we were off doing stuff, getting search warrants, going undercover, doing affidavits, grabbing bettors, and they were like, "Whoa, this is great." Well, yeah, because it's the way it's supposed to be done. Okay, and I didn't even want to hear what happened with that incident with the big scandal, because that was huge in vice units. And I said before, my other Real Cop Stories videos.com, that chiefs of police and departments are definitely afraid of vice scandals and narcotic scandals. Okay, we had a big narcotic scandal back in the 70s or 80s with our department also. Guy was with the dope and was stealing dope and everything else. So those 2 things will tear down departments. So if they have any inclination that something's going on in these units, they just clear all the units out and put new guys in. Supervise everybody. And you go off to you go back where you came from, and they're hoping that'll cure you of doing anything like that ever again. Even the guys that aren't even involved, you get purged out of there. So you could be working in an office and have no idea what the guy next to you is doing, and all of a sudden he's gone. They come in and say, "You're gone too." They do that. And so it's the way it goes. That's how it's done. So that's how I got in this unit. And so I'll tell you eventually what happened. I got in there and I started working. Then I wound up working for a supervisor. Wasn't that great, and that's the next story. And later on, I enjoyed 95% of that assignment, and the 5% I didn't enjoy was this one supervisor that decided he didn't want to make any waves. He kept looking over his shoulder for some auditors. He was afraid to make decisions. He even backtracked on some incidents that we did. Caused one of his employees, my partner, to tear up a phone book and throw it out the window. Really bad supervisor. All the things that I learned about supervisors that were good, this was the opposite, and he did them all that were bad, and that's not a good thing. Okay, so we'll talk about that later, and hope you get the nexus of this, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.